Well, hello everyone. This is Angelo Christian and another great edition of Learning Hub. And today we're going to be talking about a great book that I just got done actually finished reading, and I want to go over with you guys some of the lessons, some of the key takeaways. I don't know if you guys can see it on my phone. I do a lot of audiobooks. If you guys like the paperback ones, definitely pick up a paperback book or even Kindle. But the name of the book is called First, Break All the Rules. And basically it's, if you're in business, you're in management, and you're wanting to learn how to manage people and develop people, it's a phenomenal book. And I'm going to go over some of the key takeaways, some of the lessons. And the reason why I do this is because it also helps people that are out there in the business world and helping them to better develop their team, better manage people. And also helps me to remember to lock down what I've learned. Because the best way for someone to learn something is actually by teaching. And so you see a lot of the best teachers, they're also very good learners and students because they're actually speaking out the information that they learn. So it helps me to lock the information in my mind about what I've learned. So today we're going to be talking about some of the lessons that we learned today from this book. So again, and we'll have it on the videos. It's First, Break All the Rules. Great manager book. I loved it. I don't know, it doesn't have a lot of for some reason, a lot of reviews like some of the bigger business books like Lean Startup. But I got a lot of great takeaways out of it, so I'm going to be sharing it with you today. And I hope that you guys check it out. So anyway, the name of the book is, like I said, it's First, Break All the Rules. Okay, and I really enjoy this book, and when I take notes, I write everything down. So there'll be takeaways, bullet points on this video that you can take with you. So I have all my notes here and some of my journals that I have here. So I want to go over all of this with you. So the idea behind this book, it was done by Gallup, and they interviewed like over 100,000 companies to find out the best way on how to recruit and train and build your team. And so one of the things that I'm really focused on right now is growing my company, and the best way on how to do that, obviously you need people in order to pull that off. So this book is very good if you're looking to build a business, grow a business. If you're an entrepreneur just looking to start a business, really, really great book. So there's one of the big things that I thought was very important in this is that they made a very key distinction that employees, they don't quit companies, they quit managers. So I thought that was a huge takeaway, that people don't quit companies, they quit managers. Okay? And I'm going to talk to you about a little bit about this. So what I do when I do a review of a book, I explain to you the things that I've learned from it, some of the key takeaways, okay? So I was recently down, my family, we love, Walt Disney. We're a big advocate of Walt Disney World and the Disney cruise ships, and really amazed on how they run a business. We think they're one of the world's masters at running a business. And I got to interview some of the management there, and the managers, they've been there 15, 17, 20 years. And I asked them, hey, why are you guys, why do you work here for Disney? And they shared with me that they actually don't actually get paid a very high salary. And the number one takeaway that I got from the two managers that I interviewed is that they have a very close relationship with the manager they report to directly. So above and beyond pay, perks, as far as bonuses, if you have a gym in your office, if you have, a nap center, or if you have a daycare or dry cleaner, the most important thing, according to this book, is the relationship that an employee has with their direct manager. And that bond is the key thing. One of the most important things that's important to an employee is that relationship. And if somebody quits, it's probably because the relationship or the lack thereof that they had with their manager. And one of the things that the book talks about is that there's 12 key survey questions that if you ask an employee or a team member to answer those, and on a rating of 0 to 5, it will determine where that employee is at and if your company is performing or underperforming or outperforming based on where the employee answers those questions. We're going to actually go through those questions and actually talk about them because I think it's very, very true. And they put a heavy emphasis on the first 6 questions that if you were to survey, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur or employer watching this, and if you were to give this survey to your employees and how they answer from a 0 to 5, well, probably there's a direct correlation to the profitability, the success of your company. So we're going to take a look at those questions. I thought it was very, very powerful. And so we'll go through them now. So basically, there's six key questions that if your employees answer, so six key questions to your team. Okay. So the first thing is, do you know what expected? So the first thing is, do you know what's expected from you? Okay, so basically, if you're an employer, you need to let your employee know, or someone on your team, what the expectations are of that job. It should be very clear, like in the book, Measure What Matters. What are the goals? What are the production requirements? What is needed for that particular job and that role? And also back it up with a deadline. So the person has to know what's expected from them. If they don't know what's expected from them, how are they going to know what to do, right? And I'm very guilty of that, where many times I work with people and they don't know what's expected, whether it's a production number, a certain goal, things they need to do. Somebody knowing what's expected of them it's very critical that they actually know what that is. And so if somebody doesn't know, then they're not going to know what the goal is or the target. So how can your company be doing very well? So the second thing is, do I have the tools to be successful? So does everyone on your team have the tools to be successful? Okay. If they answer from a 0 to 5, a 0, and that's what they think in their head, how can you be performing optimally? That's a question you need to ask your management team, your sales force if you have a sales force, your HR, your compliance, your management, whatever, your processing, your back office. Do you have the tools to be successful, right? And so the other thing is that, and I'm guilty of this too. So praise. In the last week, have you given praise to any of your team members? Okay. So people like recognition, they like praise, they want to feel appreciated. This is a key thing. So if you're a entrepreneur or business owner and you're watching this and you haven't given someone any appreciation or recognition, you should start thinking about that, because it's a very, very important thing. I've actually, in my experience, lost great employees because I didn't give them enough praise or recognition. So, and one of my managers came and told me the other day is that that we deal with different vendors and partners, and it seems like, when things are going great, nobody says anything, but if something goes wrong, they're the first one to blame. So, and that's how a lot of people are. They never want to praise people when they're doing good, but if they mess up or something goes wrong, they get a slap. And that's not really the best way on how you want to operate your business. You want to give people praise and let them know when they're doing a good job. Have incentives, have bonuses, have perks, have plaques, anything you can to let people show that they're an all-star, they're a superstar. So praise is a very, very important thing. Let's see. Then there's obviously, and in that they talk about, this is too low for me. Put this up here. So, showing that you care. I think that kind of ties in with praise. The fifth one was the right person for the right role. This is probably one of the most important things. Right person for right role. Okay, when you ask somebody that, if you poll somebody in their position, do they believe that they're given to optimize their role? Are they given the opportunity to do what they do best every single day? Okay, and if they can't answer that with the number 5, they're probably not in the right role. So you want to make sure as a manager that you're casting somebody, and this has been my biggest weakness, is casting somebody, the right person for the right role. I can't tell you how many problems I've had with personnel, employee problems by not putting the right person in the right role. Okay, it's probably the biggest Achilles heel of me growing a business is this right here. Okay, so and then obviously number 6 is encourage development, growth. If you ask someone on your team, your employee, has your manager encouraged your growth or development, and are they helping you to grow? If they're not answering a 5 to that, and you're not giving people long-term opportunities to expand and grow within your organization, they're going to look elsewhere. So you got to give people upside. But I'm also going to talk about not just going to a higher position or a higher status, but also one of the things that the book, I really, really like a lot about this book, is that they put heavy emphasis that every role, every job duty is very important. Okay, and it's not just about elevating your status, because you can be for example, in this business, the mortgage business, you could be a phenomenal loan officer and make $200,000 a year, but you could be a lousy branch manager and make $50,000 a year. All right. So one of the things the book really points out is that regardless of the status that you're in, you need to put praise and put heavy emphasis and glory on every position, whether you're a processor, a loan officer assistant. That every role matters, all right? And you need to care about every role. If you're a loan officer assistant, then you become a super loan officer assistant. And you might do very well at that and make a lot of money and excel, and that's more important than you becoming an actual loan officer. Because if you can excel as a loan officer assistant or a junior processor, then in your mind, in your head, because of society, you think you need to become a branch manager, but you may be a lousy branch manager. Or you may be a lousy business owner, but you are very good at what you do. So mastery is the key, and you need to let every position shine and put glory on every position. It's not just about the name badge that you have on your shirt. It's one of the things that Michael Bloomberg, he didn't even allow people to have a title, because people think if I have this title that I'm somebody. You see, look, I'm wearing this shirt. It doesn't matter, man. I'm wearing this shirt and this pants. That's not what matters. It matters about if you're achieving your goals and you're accomplishing, what you're going after with your life. Okay, so there's people here that are wearing, if they're wearing better clothing than me, that doesn't mean that they're more important. What matters is the substance, not the status. Okay, and that's one thing the book talks about. That and I think it's great. I think it's a phenomenal thing that people pay too much attention in society to status and not enough to substance. All right, and we're all a victim of that because of the social controls in our society. So development's important, but mastery and becoming a master of what you do. Whether, for example, if you're a waiter and you make $100,000 a year as a waiter, but then you become a manager and now you're making $50,000 a year, and now you're not happy because your income went down, but your status went up. Does that make any sense? I don't think it does. So become a master of what you do is more important than what it shows on your name badge. I can make everyone a president on their name badge, but that doesn't mean that there's anything special about them. What are you doing with your job? And that's a very important thing that I really liked about this book. And so, and you know, the biggest thing that this book emphasizes, these 6 needs, these are basically what the book is talking about. These are universal objective needs that need to be met. These are baseline needs that have to be met if you're running an organization, okay? And if your people can't answer that out of a 4 or 5, your business is probably suffering, all right? So really important takeaways that I really liked. What else? So, yeah, I mean, there was some really good quote. Like, for example, I'm just going to bring this over here with me. You know, this is a really good quote that I liked. You know, employee tenure directly related to the relationship of their manager. Okay? You might think, well, yeah, that's obvious, but it's not to the conscious mind. Unless you have a lot of experience running a business, you know, when I heard that, I was like, yeah, that makes sense, but it's not conscious. So, or at least it wasn't for me. So, I really like that a lot. So, another quote I really liked is that it says that, you know, if you're a manager, you have to always remember that you're always on stage, and everything that you do, your people are watching you. Okay, every word you say, the things you do, the things you don't do, and you have to remember, just like an actor, they're on stage, you're on stage, okay? And you have to be very conscious of that and the things that you're doing, because if you're doing the wrong things, then they're going to pick up on that, and they may disagree with you, or they may like it. But if you're not doing the right thing, then if it's unethical or immoral, then that can send the wrong feeling throughout your office, the vibe, and you have to be really careful about that. So always remember, if you're a manager, that you are on stage. I think that's really important. So, let's see. The other thing that this book that I thought that was really important, the other big piece, I mean, I'm giving you my takeaways, what I really liked. So I'm just going through all my notes here. This was a good one right here on customers. So basically they're saying that the customer has 4 expectations. 4 customer expectations. Okay. The first one is accuracy. Okay, second one is availability. Third is listen and care. Fourth is advice. Okay. So these are the 4 key things that the customer is expecting with the transaction. Okay. Accuracy. You have to be accurate, whether you're selling a mortgage and you're quoting an interest rate or a timeline for closing, People are expecting accuracy. If you're going to be booking a hotel, you need to quote the right rate for the hotel price. If you're going to be quoting, a trip, and let's say you're going on a cruise, or you're, for example, you're taking an Uber and it shows you the price is $10, you want $10, okay? You don't want to be overcharged, right? Availability. One of the things I teach my team is that you better answer the phone when somebody calls you. You better return their call right away. Okay, you need to make yourself available to your customer, right? Listen and care. That's a huge thing in selling and dealing with customers and relations. Is you need to be listening more and talking less when you're dealing with people. Okay, listen more, talk less, and you need to show that you care, right? You need to care about your customer and listen to them. And then the fourth thing, the highest thing, is the customer is looking for your advice. They want to seek expert counsel and talk to somebody that's an expert. They don't want to talk to somebody that doesn't know what's going on. So these are the 4 pillars of customer expectation that's very, very important that I really thought was very powerful. And it's obviously it's evident. But the reason why I bring these things up is because, they may seem obvious to a lot of people, but I don't see this practiced a lot in a lot of business. Now, great businesses know this, and they implement it, they embody that, right? But a lot of starting entrepreneurs that are looking to build a business, I think this is a really important thing that people are looking for. And then lastly, the biggest thing that I got out of this book, now the biggest thing that I really liked about this book was on recruiting people and talent. Okay, so the biggest thing that I got out of this book, again, was how to properly recruit people, and the way to look at the whole process of recruiting. Now, I've read, Laszlo Box. He's the HR for Google. I've read his book, phenomenal book. If you're trying to recruit people, you're in HR. Laszlo's Work Rules, phenomenal book. And then also How Google Works, another great book on recruiting. And obviously everything that that Jim Collins writes is phenomenal. I have another book review I'm doing, Great by Choice, that's Jim Collins. But recruiting was one of the biggest things that I really, really enjoyed about this book. And it taught me something I kind of already knew, but wasn't sure about. And I think that humans in their nature, we care a lot about other human beings, and we try to help people as much as we can. And one of the things that this book talks about is that okay, so this book, when they interviewed hundreds of thousands of great managers that ran great companies, they said, forget about trying to change people. All right, people don't change. All right, and if you're trying to change somebody, you're wasting your time. All right, according to the book, and they go into some science here. They talk about the neuroscience and the 4-lane mental pathway. Basically what they say is that, and there's a lot of science that backs this up. They go into some studies that Berkeley did on the mind, and that there's essentially the term they use, a 4-lane mental pathway. By the age of 15, you pretty much, your mind has been developed, and the talents that you have are going to be there. And the book goes into very good detail about how to cast people, the right person for the right role, and to find those talents. The book, one of the key things I really, really like that they say, there's a great quote that I gotta. Okay, so says don't spend time trying to give people what they don't have. Pull out what they have in. All right, meaning that if you have somebody that is very good at selling, but he's bad at the paperwork, forget about trying to get him to be good at the paperwork. Give that to somebody else to do. You need to capitalize on him selling. All right. You're wasting your time if you think you're going to fix his weakness. All right. And I'm going to tell you, in my experience managing people in the 15 years, this is 100% true. I've wasted years trying to help people fix their weaknesses, and it's got me nowhere. Okay. And we're going to go into some of the recruiting questions here that are very, very powerful, talking about how to interview people and ask them the right questions when you're interviewing somebody. And you can tell from that if they're going to work in that role or not. But this book goes into, I mean, there's probably half the book is about this right here. Okay? And I got to tell you, like I said, I've probably recruited over 1,000 people. And for, I don't know why, and I look back now reflecting, that I thought I could change people, and if someone was bad at sales, I thought I could make them good at sales. Someone didn't know about math, I thought I could make them good at math. And this book is saying forget about all that. You need to just find people that already have these talents and be very careful about who you bring with you on the bus, like Jim Collins talks about. And if they have those talents, then you need to capitalize on those talents. And if they do have those weaknesses, you find somebody else. Like for example, and on the Myers-Briggs, I test INTJ. I'm an intuitive person, and I don't like details. I'm a big picture, person. So that's my weakness, and I'm never going to like the details. And so, one of the things that I'm really big about is that you have to know yourself, and that most people go through their whole life and they never know themselves. And it's very hard for me to look at myself objectively too, and to know myself. And I've come to the understanding that I don't like details. I don't like to deal with a lot of issues that involve details or back office stuff. So I have people, other management team, other staff members that help me with my weakness. Okay, I can try to do it, but I'm forcing myself to go against my nature. And I like to think about things, and I like to plan and visualize. I do not like details at all. You can just tell by the way I write, I'm not a detailed person, okay? So the point is that when you're casting people and you're recruiting, you have to make sure that you're casting the right person. Just like you're making a movie, if you look at a movie, for example, and you look at The Godfather, for one of the best movies of all time, if they would have put Chevy Chase to substitute Marlon Brando, that wouldn't even be anything. That movie would suck. Okay, could you imagine Chevy Chase playing The Godfather instead of Marlon Brando? It never would have worked. So you have to cast the right person for the right role, okay? And that is such a very, very powerful thing. All right, so this is the finish up on this book. The biggest thing that I really, really liked about it, again, was the recruiting piece and casting. So the book goes into great detail talking about that past behavior is indicative of the future, okay? And so they're real big about asking open-ended questions to the candidate, and from that, the candidate is going to reveal themselves to you, okay? So I'm just going to go into some of the questions that I use, and again, I did this today on somebody. I've done it on a few other people, and basically, by asking them open-ended questions, the strategy behind that is to see whether it's top of mind to the individual, or if they have to think about it or dig deeply. Okay, and so from that, you'll determine, if they're going to be the ideal candidate for that role. And so some of the questions are, you know, yeah, June. Hey, later. Have a good night. Yep. Okay, so some of the questions here that are open-ended, that are really good, that I like to use when I'm interviewing people is, you know, tell me about a time. Okay, so like for example, one of the questions that, and one of the jobs that we have, it's you have to be very organized and you have to write things down, and you can't forget a lot of stuff. So one of the things that I ask people is, tell me about a time when you missed out on something because you forgot something. Okay, so if somebody can quickly at the top of their mind tell you, well, I forgot to go on my flight for a plane, then that person's probably not organized. All right, because if they can just spit it off just like that, then they're probably, because see, to miss a flight on I interviewed someone today and they said they literally just forgot to go on a flight that they had to catch to get an award for a ceremony. How do you forget that? Like, I would never forget that. Okay, that would be written down, planned out, everything. Okay, but somebody that I interviewed today, they said they forgot to take a flight, and he spit it out just like that. Right, but if you have to probe that person, that, well, 3 years ago I forgot to go on something, well then probably that person is very organized and they write things down. Okay, so what I'm telling you is that if you need someone to do a job where it takes a lot of detail and they have to write things down, they're very organized, ask them that question. Okay, for example, another question that I asked somebody today, I was interviewing for a sales position. I said, tell me, what would you do if your fellow salesperson closed your sale that was a lead that was given to you? And the person I interviewed said, well, his first response was, good luck, that's great. So good luck, that's great was the first thing that came out of his mind. And the thing that you have to believe what he says, because that was top of mind to him. So he's not going to fight for his business. I asked him, tell me, how do you feel if somebody doubts you? Top salespeople, when they're interviewed, they get very upset if someone doubts them. He said he didn't care. So do you think if somebody doubts him and he's in sales, he's going to fight for that business? I asked him, tell me how you feel if somebody rejects you. He says, I don't care. In sales, salespeople are very passionate. If someone rejects them, they're going to try and overcome that rejection to close the deal. So can this person be a top salesperson? No, he cannot be. Because see what comes to him automatically to his mind. I'm not going to be able to change him to make him a top salesperson. He's fixed. And I'm wasting my time to try and make him a top salesperson. Okay? It doesn't make any sense for me to keep trying to make this person somebody he's not. He's not going to change. He is who he is. And this is a great, very powerful way to see inside of their human psychology, their mind, to see how they think and what they do. And open-ended questions are a great way on how to be able to do that. And so, because you're getting, again, what you're looking for is what you're not going to change the question to them anyway. Because if they ask you what do you mean, just say answer the question. Because all you want to know is what's coming to their mind. You don't want to rephrase it, paraphrase it, and you want to see how they respond to it. Okay? Like for example, one of the questions I said, tell me how you organize your day, and they responded, well, it depends on the season. Now, what does that mean? Okay, I mean, how do you schedule your day? What do you do? You know, and you can go. I mean, depending on the industry that you're in, I mean, you can go hog wild on this. But the bottom line is you're going to ask how questions, open-ended. Tell me about a time. These are great questions to ask people. And you use your imagination with your business to put any spin you want on it. And from that, you're going to see how somebody responds. And again, from that, they're going to let them reveal themselves to you to determine. Now, it doesn't make that person a bad person. Okay, that's not the point I'm trying to make here. I'm just saying that this person is not going to be good for sales. So if I'm the casting director, I don't want to put him in a sales position. I got to put him in another position that he's more suited for, right? Because if I put him in sales, then I mean we're gonna have a catastrophe. We're gonna be up the wrong area, and it's not gonna work out. He's not gonna follow, he's not gonna be aggressive. He's not gonna be persistent, because this is what it takes to be great in sales. Is you have to overcome objections. You don't like it when people doubt you. You're passionate about what you say, and you're gonna be persistent, right? This person didn't have those things. They're better in another position. So that's a big thing. The final thing that I do want to end with, I just remembered. See, that's one thing I love about doing Learning Hub, guys. It helps me remember everything about the book that I read. Okay, so yeah, actually, guys, we are a real company, so you see people walking in and out. So we're a real business, so that happens. Last thing that I really loved about this book is spend time with your best. Okay, so I'm guilty of this. All right, I'm a victim of it. I did the exact opposite for many years. I let my best people. I stayed the farthest away from them because I thought they knew that they knew what to do. So I didn't spend any time with them, and I spent all my time with the people that had issues and problems. And this book is saying, do you have to do the exact opposite, right? So you want to spend the most time with your best people and get more out of them, and your weak people, don't spend time with them, okay? Have somebody else deal with that, all right? And I'm a firm believer in this. So for me, if you're gonna have my time, you better be the best. All right, you're not gonna get me if you're not the best. If you are a low producer, I'm not spending time with you, bud. If you're a top producer, then we can spend time and I'll help you to build your business and your portfolio and boost your pipeline and take your career to the next level, okay? But if you're out there and you're a manager and you're watching this, spend time with your best people. Don't assume and think that, well, they know what to do, they're cool. No, they need you the most, okay? Your best people need you the most, okay? Your worst people, they don't need you, man. They need you, but they need you as a handicap, as a crux. Your best people need you the most. So spend time with your best people, guys. And like I said, very, very important. If you run a company, great book, pick it up. I loved it. And those are the main takeaways that I got. If you want more, read the book yourself. Those are the main things. First, break all the rules. Gallup book, I loved it, guys. Thank you so much for checking out Learning Hub. I read a lot of books. I try to read about 4 or 5 books a month. This is a book that I just finished and I wanted to share it with you. Guys, my name's Angelo Christian. I have a nationwide mortgage company, and we also have Real Estate University, an online education platform to help people to become a top producer. So I'd love to help you in any way that I can. There's links below to click on to get signed up for Real Estate University. Or if you're looking to buy a house or to get pre-approved for a commercial loan, give us a call at 281-817-HOME, or click on the link below to get signed up. We'd love to help you to get you pre-approved, to get you the funding, whether it's a commercial deal, hard money, reverse mortgage, VA. I want to help you in any way we can. Thank you so much for checking me out. Take care and peace out. Bye-bye.